Now, moving on to question number 11, let us read it first. Many literary theorists distinguish between fabula, a narrative's content, and syuzhet, a narrative's arrangement and presentation of events. In the film The Godfather Part II, the fabula is the story of the Corleone family, and the syuzhet is the presentation of the story as it alternates between two timelines in 1901 and 1958. But literary theorist Mikhail Bakhtin maintained that fabula and syuzhet are insufficient to completely describe a narrative. He held that systematic categorizations of artistic phenomena discount the subtle way in which meaning is created by interactions between the artist, the work, and the audience. So, which choice best states the main idea of the text? So, initially, we are getting an idea to know what is fabula and syuzhet. Fabula is the story of the Corleone family, and they've given an example to understand. And syuzhet is the presentation of the story as it alternates between two timelines. So, even if you don't know what is fabula and syuzhet, you can kind of get an idea with this given example. But then we are talking about Mikhail Bakhtin. He says that if you just use fabula and syuzhet to describe any narrative, that too completely, then this artistic phenomena, we are going to discount it. The subtle way in which meaning is created by interactions between the artist, the work, and the audience. So, if we just categorize in such a simple way, just using fabula and syuzhet, it's very difficult to understand the creative or artistic phenomena, what the artist is trying to tell through his work to the audience. Audience can take their own meanings. We don't need to classify with just such a little classification. That's what literary theorist Mikhail Bakhtin is saying. So now, based on that, we have to decide which choice is the best for the main idea of the text. A. Literary theorist Mikhail Bakhtin argued that there are important characteristics of narratives that are not fully encompassed by two concepts that other theorists have used to analyze narratives. B. Literary theorist Mikhail Bakhtin claimed that meaning is not inherent in a narrative but is created when the audience encounters a narrative, so that narratives are interpreted differently by different people. C. The storytelling methods used in The Godfather Part II may seem unusually complicated, but they can be easily understood when two concepts from literary theory are utilized. And D. Narratives that are told out of chronological order are more difficult for audiences to understand than are narratives presented chronologically. So, here also the wrong answers are pretty evident, so it is possible to arrive at the right answer. So, if you said A, well done, that is the correct answer. Choice A is the best answer because it most accurately states the main idea of the text. The text begins by explaining that many literary theorists rely on concepts of fabula, that is, a narrative's content, and syuzhet, a narrative's arrangement and presentation of events, and illustrate these concepts by explaining how they can be applied to the film Godfather Part II. The text then discusses how Mikhail Bakhtin, a literary theorist, argued that fabula and syuzhet cannot fully describe a narrative, since systematic categorizations such as these fail to account for all the other ways in which interactions between artist, the work, and the audience produce meaning. So, the artist, the work, and how the audience, when audience sees the work, they will make their own interpretations. We don't have to classify like that. That's what he's arguing. And thus, the main idea is that Bakhtin argued that there are important characteristics of narratives that are not fully encompassed by two concepts that other theorists have used to analyze narratives. And B is incorrect because, according to the text, Mikhail Bakhtin believed that meaning was created through the interactions of the artist, narrative, and audience, not simply through the interaction between audience and narrative. Moreover, the text doesn't address whether Bakhtin focused on the ways in which different people interpret narratives differently. So, we are not focused on encounters so that people interpret differently. That is not the main idea of the text, although it does mention that audience can take different meaning, okay, but that's not the main idea. Then C is incorrect. Although the text implies that the storytelling methods used in The Godfather Part II are complicated, it discusses the film only to illustrate. It's just giving as an example how the concepts of fabula and syuzhet may be applied to the narrative. The film's storytelling methods aren't the primary focus of the text. That is about Godfather. This entire thing is mostly talking about Godfather, but that is not the main topic of this, or the main idea of the text we need. Choice D is incorrect. The text discusses the Godfather Part II, whose narrative doesn't adhere to a single chronological order, only to illustrate the concepts of fabula, which is a narrative's content, and syuzhet, which is the narrative's arrangement and presentation of events. The primary focus of this text isn't the structure of this film or of other narratives that are told out of chronological order. Moreover, the text doesn't consider whether such structures make it harder for audiences to understand narratives. So, again, we are not talking about whether if we have such a type of structure in the story or the movie, it is difficult for the audiences to understand. That's not mentioned at all in the paragraph. So, the main idea is best explained in A, where literary theorist Mikhail Bakhtin, whatever his argument is there, that is presented as required by the text. So,